another day and yet another video. Welcome to my channel. So this is the channel where we learn, grow and share ESL tips and activities. My name is Zane and I'm from the Kingdom of Eswatini and an ESL teacher right here in Taiwan. Welcome. So today I'm sharing two very interesting yet simple reading activities that you can do with your students that are gonna get your students practicing the 4 language skills, that is speaking, listening, reading and writing. So that is what we want to see in our ESL classes, the students practicing all these skills. And I promise you, if you try these activities, the kids are gonna love it. On top of that, they're gonna practice all the skills they need to master the English language. So now let's get down to it. What is happening today? Sometimes, unfortunately, my classrooms do not have the best of lighting, but it's okay. So long as I get to shoot the video, that's all that matters. It's not always that you're gonna have like flashing lights and like bright pictures. Yeah, it's all in the day's work. It's okay. So now, let's look at the material. How do you prepare the material and what do you need to prepare? So you need, number 1, mini whiteboards. So mini whiteboards. So this one, we usually use this kind. We have the plastic and the typepad paper. So this is A4 size mini whiteboard. So you just put you put the typepad paper inside this plastic and then you have a mini whiteboard. But some people laminate. They just take the typepad or maybe another harder one, and then they laminate it. But for us, we just use these reusable plastics. And then number 2, a marker. And last but not least, we need an eraser. All right, so now prepare the material with me. Let's go. So now the students have their mini whiteboards. What do? So you explain the rules to them. So very simple and straightforward rules. The first thing you do is you give them names, or you just give them letters. So I usually say there is A student and B student. So we have 2 people working together. One is A and the other is B. So once they have the mini whiteboard, A student writes the answer and then B student speaks. So A student writes it down, B says. So let me make an example. Let's say they've finished reading the story and now here's the question. What is Mark doing? So they need to talk. He's doing blah blah blah. If they don't remember, they go back to the story and check it out. And then once they find the answer, A student writes it down. He's studying. So they write down the answer and then show it to me. Teacher, teacher. And then B student has to say it. He's studying. And then when we go for question number 2, they have to switch. B student writes down the answer. A student says the answer. So switch every question. Every time you change questions, they have to switch the responsibilities. A writes, B says. B writes, A says, until you finish the activity. So now let's get down to the question or the game that we played in order for them to be able to share these answers with me. Oh yeah, quickly, the eraser. After they finish question 1, they need to erase and wait for question 2. So you erase, A student erases and then gives it to the next student, gives it to the B student. So B student gets ready to write down the answer. When he's done, he has to erase and give it back to A student for the next question. Okay, let's go to the game. It was a word wall game. It was a game show, right? So I showed them the answer on word wall. They have to write the answer down and say it. And then one student has to go to the board, the smart board, and click the correct answer and get points. So this was the story that we were doing with the grade 4s. So after they finished reading it, we had to do the online quiz. They have to write down the answer and say the answer so they can practice all the skills. All right, let's get down to the quiz. The second activity that I want to share with you is called the trick or treat game. Yeah, it was a very interesting game and it really got the kids going back to the story to give me the answers. So we had a story about Halloween, the Halloween holiday, and then after our reading and role playing and all that nice stuff in the presentation, we had to practice. So this was the practice activity. Let me show you the material that you need for this activity. So here was the story, Halloween story. You see the costumes and everything. So afterwards we have to have a very nice activity, give them questions or just a short quiz that's going to make them go back to the story if they want or need the answers. Back to the materials, please. So kwakha material yakho. It's time for us to play the game. So the name of the game is Trick or Treat game because we were looking at a story that was talking about Halloween. So we just want to stay in theme. So the first thing I did, I showed them this video because I know that some kids abayati Halloween, and they did tell me during the lesson that I celebrate Halloween here, but the story demands them to know a few things about Halloween. So I just showed them the video. Lena kancane ukuthi babone ukuthi i-trick or treat. You guys like that one? Okay, trick or treat game. The first thing you do is explain the rules and make sure that they know what they need to do. So rule number 1, they have to read the rule. Pick a card from the bag. So we have this bag. This is the so-called bag. I'm going to examine this logo for today. But on the day we did have a bag, the Halloween inspired. Yeah, so there was a bag. Pumpkin, that pumpkin in Halloween, that was what we used. But today, just for tutorial purposes, we're just gonna use this container. And then rule number 2, get a treat if you pick the treat card. So here, nama cards now are trick or treat cards. So if you pick the treat card, now the treat, you will get a treat. So my core teacher Emma treats for the students. La dokona will pick a treat. And then number 3, you have to answer a question if you pick the trick card. So if you pick the trick card, we have to answer a question on the story. So we had 8 questions. 5 of the questions were trick, because if ukuthi kube ne-probability learning ukuthi bapick a trick, sitawukhona nje ukufunza a question and answer it. And then 3 of them were treat cards, so that bajabulisa nje, so that badoa are motivated in the game. Okay, so let's move on to the first question. So I give them the first question, and then afterwards bese ngisebenzisa the lucky draw sticks. These sticks nama numbers abo to pick one student. Maybe I pick number 3 ngembili, akhethe a card, sifunze ukuthi it's a trick or treat. Now it's a treat, they get a treat, but now it's a trick, we have to answer a question. Alright, so sengiqale ke teacher lana solo emphasize nje ukuthi treat, trick. Vamos, yes or no? Yes, we get it. Okay, and then see already in my mini whiteboards, we give them the mini whiteboards. A writes the answer, B speaks. B will say the answer, and then they switch for the next question. They switch responsibilities. A says the answer, B writes down the answer. Okay, so siyaqala ke manje. I will start with the first question. What's the holiday? And then Benda and Banpana, they take their mini whiteboards, bayakhuluma, bayabhala. They go back to the story. Baba kwatikela abanye kuspela Halloween, babatshelani Halloween age, hey, blah blah blah. Then bangchangise. And then once they finish sharing, I show them the answer, and then we have to say the sentence together. It's Halloween. Yeah. And then we move on to the game. I pick one student. Number 18. Please come and choose a card. I choose. Let's see. Maybe we'll pick up this one. Ambajanda. It's trick. Yes, it's trick. Oh, teacher. Yeah, we have to read a question and answer it. So, singing video like this slide. Is Anna going to dress up as a princess? Then or they need to check the story, and then they show me. Afterwards, we share the answer together. No, she isn't. What is she gonna dress up as? She's gonna dress up as a ghost. We have come to the end of yet another glorious and informative episode. Woohoo! I hope that everybody enjoyed it. So please remember that if you also have any tips that you can share with us, please write them down in the comment section, and we will make sure that we employ those tips in our English class. Yeah, so with that, I have to love you and leave you. Okay, everyone, see you next time. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.